Alright, so today what we're going to be doing is we are going to create complex sentences using a library of words and sentences and sentence structures that have been populated onto a list. Therefore, we're going to go ahead and make a program that can, in a sense, talk with things that we previously programmed into it. So what I want you to do is I want you to go and open up a Snap. And we're going to start off by making well, first let me show you, I guess, the way it's supposed to look. So this is going to be basically your final product. You see that I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lists. Those lists do have a variable that it's initializing. In this case, it's nouns, pronouns, verbs, adjectives, determiners, adverbs, and prepositions. You are free to use whichever nouns you want, proper nouns, verbs, adjectives, determiners, so on and so forth, as long as it's appropriate. But yeah, you can definitely make it your own, put your name in there, anything like that. All right, and finally, you see that the different reporter blocks will create a small phrase or sentence. In this case, pizza runs, the elephant jumps, shoe talks, shoe jumps. And we'll go and dive deeper into how we make all of these previous reporter blocks. In front of the blue shoe, runs angrily, sits perfectly, sits quickly. And you can play around with these later on and change the wording. For right now, just create 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 variables, and then you can put the nouns or pronouns or verbs inside of a list for those different variables. After you have created all of your variables, and we're going to go ahead and set each one to a list like so. Adjectives, we'll set it to a list. And inside you can put your different adjectives. So in my case, I was taking longer than I should probably in creating or thinking of different adjectives. I went to this website, Random Adjective Generator, and it was able to give me just a bunch of adjectives that I would just copy and paste over to the Snap list. I'm going to do the same thing with adverbs. Let's set adverbs to a list. And in this one, I'm going to put 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, just copy and paste from the adverb. Let's see if I can put an adverb. Adverb generator right here. Okay, and then just copy it over. Alright, so there you go for that. I'm going to do the same thing for the determiners, nouns, prepositions, pronouns, and verbs. Again, my list ended up looking something like this. Yours doesn't necessarily have to look like that or have those words, as long as they do have the adjectives, adverbs, nouns, pronouns, verbs, and determiners. Next, we're going to create some reporter blocks that are going to allow us to use these lists both individually and together. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to join random items from our determiners, random items from our nouns, and random items from our verbs. Operators join. 3 spaces, variables, random. Random. From first our determiners, then our nouns, and finally our verbs. So you should get something that looks like this. When you click on it, it should report. Okay, remember that when you get this warning, it's because you have not actually initiated the variables to the list. So before you do that, you need to go ahead and click on that, and then click on whatever you're going to populate here or join together. Now, why is it coming out together? It's because we need a space after each word. So let's do that. If not, it's just going to join everything. So make sure that you add a space. So once you have added a space after each word, just like you see here, see how a space has been added after each word, go ahead and make sure that you set it by clicking on it, and then you can click on the join and see what it gives you. So for example here, it says a flag conduct, cannon conduct, the flag space or place, snail's conduct, a house place, snail stir. Alright, so they don't all necessarily have to make a bunch of sense, but we're going to go ahead and see how we can fix that right now in just a bit. The next thing you're going to work on is going to be the verb phrase, the complex sentences, prepositional phrases, and the rest of them. So let's first start with, we're going to start with our noun phrase. So for this one, we are going to take a reporter. So by going here to making a block, but we're not going to make it a command, make sure you do make it a reporter. I want to put it under operators just for the sake of keeping the color green. And I'm going to call it noun phrase. Press OK. Now that I have my noun phrase, I'm going to take this and we're going to create a variable called random number. So you see here that now I have a variable called random number, and we're going to set random number inside of here. We're not going to use this report until a little later. We're going to set random number to a random number between 0 and 2 operators. Pick random and 2, and you're going to see why in just a bit. Then we're going to go and take an if statement. Operators equals, and if random number equals to 0, then it's going to report the joining of item random of determiners. Make this a little bigger so you can see. We're going to add another space here, and this world is going to turn into simply just a space bar or a space. And we are going to add another one of these, but instead of determiners, we're going to use nouns. Alright, so the key really here is just understanding what's happening. It's going to take a random number, and if it is 0, it's going to return these two things joined together. We're going to have 3 more things being joined, so you could just take this if statement, duplicate it, put it down here. But now if the random number is going to be 1, then it's going to join one more thing to it besides the nouns. I'm going to take this out just for a bit. Open this up, put another space, open one more, put this one at the end, and in the middle we're going to put item random of now adjectives, like so. There's going to be one more, and we're basically doing the same thing, but in this case this is going to be a 2. I'm going to remove my last one just like I did before. I'm going to add 2 more with a space, put my nouns at the end, and I'm going to duplicate the adjectives and leave it as so, like that. This is actually going to be determiners, adjectives, adjectives, and nouns. I'm going to press OK. Now I'm going to see what my noun phrase does. And you can see that it gives you just those items joined together, choosing randomly from the different lists that we created. We're going to stop right here. We're going to turn this into a 2-part video just because of the sake of time. Some of y'all will take more than others. Just make sure that when you save it, you're going to save it as sentence maker, and this won't be turned in until tomorrow. And that's it for today.